Hey guys, Khraze here, welcome back to No Man's Sky Desolation. Today we have a big patch going on, patch 2.61, which brings a huge list of bug fixes as well as a ton of optimizations, especially for those freighters that suffered from a number of bugs for the past couple of days ever since the new update went live. So let's jump right into it with a huge list. There's too many of them to cover, so I'm going to try to cover the more important ones, but I want to start things off with the freighters since these had a number of issues, including with the color options. So previously, some of the players weren't able to change the colors or they were constantly being reset, so this has been addressed in this new update and freighters have now been restored to all of their correct colors. Furthermore, they've also fixed an issue that prevented freighter recoloring from working on all the paneling of some freighter types, and finally the one that prevented freighters from being recolored immediately after purchase. There's also one for the tech inventory screen. As I've said previously, if you tried installing any of the new tech in that tech inventory screen, it was basically all grayed out. So now this should be fixed with a new update and you can move your tech back if somehow you kind of removed it. I'm also seeing a number of other improvements and fixes, especially for the derelict freighters and even more so for their interiors. This includes improving the smoothness of lighting changes when just entering a derelict freighter from the bridge area, another one for the atmospheric fog visuals inside of it, and finally improved visuals for the walkaway. But there's more in there as well that I'm just going to read real quick because there's like just too many of them. This includes some of the weird bugs that was causing derelict freighter interior lighting settings to turn on while just landing on the pads. I think that this was the issue that was also causing some of the planets in the background to completely disappear for some reason. Oh, and they finally fixed the cargo bulkheads not being used when actually adding extra inventory slots to your freighter. Like, I was wondering why that was the case, because I only had 2 in my inventory, yet I was able to unlock almost all of the extra slots before I realized that there's even a bug. So if you have applied this update, then you're not going to be able to do that anymore, which I guess it makes sense because it was kind of ruining the purpose of the new update. But there's also a bunch of other changes, like for example, you might have seen some of your base parts being deleted with the past update, and that was because of a bug that was overly inflating the complexity of the value ranges of some of the base parts, and that has been addressed in this update, and now this should bring everything back to normal. From here on, we just have a long list of performance improvements and optimizations. So the first one is they fixed a stutter that could occur when generating the procedural interiors of derelict freighters, as well as a rare issue that could cause a hang during loading times. Furthermore, for the Xbox players, there's been an Xbox specific performance optimization going on for the game, and I think that you should see the game performing much better. No word for the ones on the PlayStation 4 though, but I assume that the other ones apply to it as well. They've also introduced a number of other general optimizations in there from what I'm seeing, so I think that should be the case across all of the other platforms. We also have quite a high number of crash fixes, including for the one that would occur when system authority ships would attempt to take off from abandoned space stations, which would in turn also cause the entire game to crash the desktop. But there's more even for the console players, like there's console specific rendering crashes that have been addressed with a new update, as well as to the ones related to planetary creature navigation. Now we do have a gameplay change here that is quite significant, so I will mention it in this video as well, and this is collecting both logs and using the engineering control panel will now also move the derelict freighter mission on, even if all rooms have yet to be explored. So previously you would have to explore all of the rooms, then go on the lower level, and this would actually like progress you through the mission, of course also interacting with the new terminals. But now you can skip on the unimportant, well, rooms and just go to the end one, which is the important one, with like the last terminal, as this is the one that's going to give you like the big rewards and whatnot. So I guess it's an important change because now you don't have to waste time in all of those other rooms that might not hold too many things that are significant. There's also other changes to the way derelict freighters can be interacted with, including the fact that you cannot destroy them anymore, if you can believe that. So that's unfortunate, kinda wish that was still the case, but you cannot do it in the new update. Another one was for a rare bug that could cause different space encounters to spawn while searching for a derelict freighter. Not really sure if this was specific to when you were paying that scrapper NPC or when directly using a way to like find derelict freighters or just other random encounters in general, but I think it's the first rather than the last ones. Another one is for the issue that prevented emergency supplies from being collected from the airlock terminals on some of these freighters. faders. From here on, there's just a number of other fixes, smaller in size, to various items inside of the fader, as well as to the way you interact with them. Like for example, the fader logs being very difficult to interact with in certain occasions, that has been addressed, as well as the decorations having a number of bugs, including the fact that some of them had clipping issues, while others were altogether spawning outside of the fader itself, so that has also been addressed. There's other collision-like problems that have been addressed in this update as well, including for the ability to summon a space anomaly on top of the derelict fader, so that isn't going to be possible anymore, and there should be a range indicator once you do that. Funny enough, we also have our first nerf on today's list, which is basically for the various fleet upgrade modules that you can get at the end of them. So basically, these were giving double the amount of power that they were supposed to give, which is why they were so powerful. So that has, well, actually been fixed, not really nerfed, but I can see why a lot of people are going to treat it as such. Now, if you were experiencing any problems, especially with the storage inside of Freighter and even more so with the inventory tabs, then some of these have been addressed in this update, including for the Freighter storage boxes being incorrectly displayed and viewed in the inventory tabs, so that has been addressed as well. And there's also an issue that was causing the cycling of these inventory tabs to only work in one direction, but now it should work in both. And finally, the one that was causing some of the text to overlap, especially when there were like long names and whatnot. Finally, we have a number of multiplayer fixes, as I've said, including for the derelict freighters markers not appearing in multiplayer. Another one was for the players aboard the same derelict freighter to see different interiors. Another one was for the teleporters to be incorrectly synced in multiplayer, so now if one player unlocked all of them, all of the other players should be able to notice them as well. We also have a number of desync issues that was plaguing people's multiplayer sessions, like especially for the items and the alien horrors. In the case of the items, when getting destroyed, some of the players might have seen them being destroyed, while others would see them intact, so that was also addressed with this update. But there's also for the alien horrors, as I've said, like for example, one that was causing them to incorrectly target multiplayer players, another one that was completely causing them to desync between the party mates, and finally also for the turret animations that wouldn't be synced correctly in the multiplayer sessions. Anyway, if you want to read the rest of them, you can go ahead and check out the links in the description box down below. The changes in the update are definitely very good. Of course, I'm enjoying the Desolation update even more. By the way, if you want to make the most out of it and get the most amount of rewards out of the new update and its new features, then definitely go ahead and check out my previous video on the subject that I've posted a couple of days ago. In the meantime, as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.